Yo, what is going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the NBA slate on DraftKings for Thursday, January 25th. We just got 4 games today, so a short slate on this Thursday. Before we get started looking at this slate and going through each position, make sure you guys drop a like on the video. I would really appreciate it. And if you're new to the channel and this is your first time clicking on a video on my channel, thank you so much for clicking on the video. Make sure you click that subscribe button so that way you'll never miss out on any of my new uploads. And make sure you subscribe if you have not already. But looking at point guard on this 4-game slate, starting up top here, pretty loaded position, at least if we're talking about top options, maybe not all around, but up top we got Russell Westbrook, Steph Curry, John Wall, all expensive point guards that we can target on this slate. Starting off with Westbrook going up against Washington. Obviously this isn't the best matchup, but Westbrook has a pretty nice price of $11,400. There are a lot of other studs on this slate, so we definitely don't have to jam in Westbrook. But I would say he's by far the top option. He's obviously going to have the top projection out of all the studs, and I think he's probably my favorite stud to try and pay up for if you can get him. Now right now, as I'm recording this video the night before and looking at this slate the night before, I'm not seeing a ton of value, so it's going to be really hard to fit in these studs unless we get some value that opens up. Right now the value plays I'm seeing just not plays that I really want to go to. Guys like JARRETT, Jack, George Hill, like these are the kind of value plays we're really going to have to consider if we want to fit in a stud. So it might be hard to play Westbrook, might be hard to play Curry, even John Wall. John Wall is really cheap today, just $8,500. Not the best matchup at all, though. Going up against OKC. And lately, Wall's been pretty disappointing his last few games. He did put up 54 DraftKings points a couple games ago against Milwaukee, but other than that, he's been disappointing lately. At $8,500, I could see why you would want to go to John Wall because he's pretty cheap, but not the best matchup. I think I'd just rather get up to Curry or get up to Westbrook. Definitely think Westbrook's my favorite point guard if you can pay up at this position. But going to this mid-tier, in this mid-tier, I definitely like some options here. Starting off with Jamal Murray. Really like Jamal Murray today. Looking at this slate the night before, I think he's a guy I'm going to be definitely putting in some lineups. Going to go ahead and put him in as one of my 5 plays today. Just a great matchup. Going up against the Knicks, a really bad defensive team against the point guard. And Murray was sort of in a slump a couple games ago, but last 2 games he's really picked it up, putting up 47 and 54 DraftKings points. He was obviously disappointing against San Antonio, disappointing against Dallas, putting up 6 and 11 DK points. He's been playing really well lately, been seeing very nice minutes. Great matchup here. Really like this spot for Jamal Murray, even though he's kind of priced up today. This guy has a lot of upside, especially when he's shooting the ball well. He can put up monster games. So I like him in that mid-tier point guard. I think Jeff Teague is also an option as well if you want to go to him for $300 less. I think I prefer Murray over Teague, but Teague in a fast-paced game against the Warriors could definitely be an option, especially if Jimmy Butler is out again today. But maybe trying to find value here. Just a gross position for value. I really don't see any value plays I'm in love with. I think the one guy sub 5K that you could go to is JARRETT Jack going up against Denver. Denver definitely struggles defensively against the point guard, so this is a spot where we can go to JARRETT Jack. He's pretty cheap at $4,600. Been seeing consistent minutes lately, 28, 26, 29 minutes his last 4 games. Kind of been inconsistent with the production, but last 2 games, 25 and 27 DK points. And like I said, this is a good matchup. Denver does struggle to defend point guards. JARRETT Jack's the one guy that I see for value that I like. If you want to go cheap at point guard, I think he's a good option at $4,600. But that's really what I'm seeing at point guard, at least for value plays, at least options that stand out to me. I think if you're not paying for Westbrook, Curry, or Wall, definitely go to that mid-tier where I like Jamal Murray. I think he's a really good option if you want to get off some of the expensive guys. But moving on to shooting guard. Looking at shooting guard on the slate, Bradley Beal is a guy up top here that I haven't already talked about. Definitely not the best matchup for him at all, though, going up against OKC, but he is another guy that seems a little bit too cheap today. Him and John Wall both seem a little bit too cheap. I think Bradley Beal, definitely a guy we can consider given the price tag at $7,200. You really only need like 35, 36 DK points from him to return value on this price, and on the year, Beal's been averaging nearly 38 DK points, and in his last 4 games, he's put up 26, 34, 39, 30 DK points. So he's giving you about close to a 30-point floor, and we know Beal has upside for 40 to 50 points. Like I said, this is not the best matchup at all, but we can definitely go to Beal just given the price tag if we want to pay up at this position. I think I would prefer Andrew Wiggins for $200 less, especially if Jimmy Butler is out today. Wiggins just sees such a big bump in usage. His last 2 games, Butler has missed, and Wiggins has played 36 and 41 minutes and has put up 38 and 51 DraftKings points. He took 28 shots his last game against the Clippers, so was taking shots all game. and just going to have a lot of opportunity if Jimmy Butler misses again. So Wiggins would probably be the guy I'd want to pay up for, but if Jimmy Butler plays today, you can definitely go to Brad Beal for just 200 more. But going to this mid-tier, not a lot of mid-tier plays I'm absolutely in love with. I think Gary Harris is the one guy I see here. At 6,300 you could go to, but he is listed as questionable for this game. If he plays and we get that news before lock, I think Gary Harris is definitely an option today. He's pretty relatively priced at just 6,300. You want about 32 DK points from him to return value on this price. It's pretty likely he's able to get there, especially given the matchup. On the year, Harris has been averaging 30 DK points. His last few games, he's put up 42, 34, 35 DK points. And we know he's going to play close to 40 minutes just about every game. So if Gary Harris does play today, and we can confirm that before lock, he's a guy you can go to in that mid-tier. You also have Tim Hardaway at the same price, who could be a really good option, especially if Porzingis does not play today. Porzingis is questionable. We know Hardaway sees a big bump in usage with Porzingis off the floor. Obviously with Beasley starting, that does hurt Hardaway a bit, but he's still definitely an option that you can consider, especially if Porzingis misses today. But maybe going to this 5K range or trying to find value at shooting guard. Pretty gross when we get into this 5K range, just not a lot of plays I'm absolutely in love with. You could go to someone like Kelly Oubre. He's been consistent lately, but he's kind of priced up. He's priced up to 5,100. You need at least 25 DK points from him to really return value on this price. Oubre can get there, but definitely not a guy I'm really trying to force in. Just don't see a lot of value at shooting guard that I'm absolutely in love with. You could go to some of these Kings guys, especially if we get news on which guy's going to rest tonight. The 7:30 game, or the Kings game, is the 7:30 game, the first game on the slate. So we should have the news before lock which Kings veterans are going to rest, and that could open up some value, but we're obviously not going to know that looking at the slate the night before, so that'll be something we have to track throughout the day. So that's pretty much it for shooting guard. Looking at this position, so moving on to small forward. Up top here, we've got Kevin Durant in a matchup against the Timberwolves. Durant is priced under 10K today, so that does make him an appealing option. He's only 9,900. This is definitely not the best matchup going up against Minnesota, but if Jimmy Butler is out, it does become a better matchup for KD, and especially at this price, definitely going to try and pay it for KD on this slate if Butler does not play. I feel like KD is just a little bit too cheap, and this is a game that we are definitely going to want to have some exposure to. Should be a high-scoring game, should be competitive as well. Love Kevin Durant on this slate if you can fit him in. Not seeing a lot of value, but if you can find the value that you like, KD is definitely one of my studs I'm trying to get up to. But looking for other small forward plays, you do have Paul George for over $2,000 cheaper, who you could go to. He's been playing really well lately. His last two games, 49, 41 DraftKings points, put up 40 4 games ago against Sacramento. So PG's been playing well. This is definitely a good matchup against Washington, a team that does struggle to defend the small forward position. If you do need the savings off of Kevin Durant, you can't pay up for Kevin Durant. Paul George is a really good play there. You got Wiggins for 600 less. I think I'd prefer PG over Wiggins today if you can find the salary. Obviously, if you can't, Wiggins is definitely a guy you can go down to, especially if Jimmy Butler's out. But this is a really good matchup for PG. I definitely like him in this spot. And in this mid-tier, this 6K range, Michael Beasley, one of my 5 plays today at 6,200 in a matchup against Denver. Beasley right now is a guy we're going to have to watch throughout the day, or we're going to have to watch the Porzingis news. If Porzingis plays, we're not going to be considering Beasley. If Porzingis is out, definitely think we can go back to Beasley here. Last game with Porzingis out against the Warriors, Beasley played 35 minutes and put up 32 DraftKings points, had 21 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. He's got a good matchup today against Denver, a team that does play at a pretty fast pace. You got to hope this game stays competitive, but if it does, Beasley, really good play. This guy has a lot of upside, especially when he gets minutes. And if Porzingis is out today, we know Beasley's going to get 30-plus minutes. He'll be in the starting lineup. Really like him in that mid-tier at small forward in that 6K price range. And then going in this 5K price range and then looking for value, James Johnson seems a little bit too cheap today at 5,500. But Gordon Dragic, Tyler Johnson, both guys are probable for today's game, so they're expected to be back. That does hurt James Johnson a little bit. And lately, he hasn't been seeing heavy minutes, hasn't played over 30 minutes at all in his last 4 games. He's been pretty inconsistent as well, so I'm not sure if he's a guy I'm really trying to jam in today. I think he does make sense if you need a value option, but definitely not one of the first guys I'm putting in my lineups. You got Trey Lyles in that 5K range as well. He's been a little bit more consistent lately than maybe James Johnson has, so he does make some sense at 5,200. His last few games, he's put up 20, 26, 25 DK points, 25, 28, 24 minutes. So been seeing about mid-20s in minutes. We know Lyles will get close to 30 minutes, especially if he's playing well. And he does have a nice price of 5,200. Definitely a good matchup here against the Knicks, especially if Porzingis is out. So Lyles is probably my favorite option if you want to go to that mid-tier, 5,200. And then going 5K and under, looking for value. I didn't mention Courtney Lee at shooting guard, but he is definitely a value option we can go to at 4,800, especially if Porzingis is out today. In their last game against the Warriors, Porzingis did not play, and Courtney Lee played 38 minutes, put up 31 DraftKings points. The guy's been consistent lately. His last 4 games, 24, 30, 20, 31 DraftKings points. He's been playing a ton of minutes, 35, 36, 34, and 38 minutes. Not a good matchup at all against Denver. They do defend the shooting guard position really well. Gary Harris is a good defender. If Harris does play today, that is a tough matchup for Lee, but the guy's going to get a lot of opportunity if Porzingis is out, so do see him as a good option we can go to if we need to save salary on this slate. He's only 4,800, so really, really cheap. But another one of my 5 plays coming from small forward, a value play here at 4,500. Nemanja Bjelica. If Jimmy Butler's out today, like Bjelica as a value option in a matchup against the Warriors. We're obviously not going to consider Bjelica if Jimmy Butler plays. The Timberwolves are on a back-to-back, and Butler did not play on Wednesday night, so there's a chance he doesn't play again. On the last 2 games that Jimmy Butler has missed, Bjelica has started and played 26 and 35 minutes and has put up 19 and 37 DraftKings points. Did get a price increase up to 4,500, but he can still pay off this price tag, especially in a fast-paced game against the Warriors. So Bjelica is a value option I like on this slate if you need to save some salary. I think he makes a lot of sense if Jimmy Butler does not play today. You got Wilson Chandler at that same price who you could go to. He's just a guy that plays a ton of minutes. Doesn't provide you a lot of fantasy upside because he really doesn't do much when he's on the court. But he's playing over 30 minutes a night, and he's still cheap at 4,500. Definitely a good matchup against the Knicks. Could see you going to Wilson Chandler at that same price, but I think I'd prefer Bjelica if Jimmy Butler is out today. But that's really what I'm seeing as small forward. I'm not going to go to Garrett Temple, even though he's coming off a big game. Just don't think he's that great of a value play. There's a chance he rests because he is one of their vets. So I think that's pretty much it for small forward. Moving on to power forward. And looking at power forward on this slate, looking at plays I haven't already mentioned. You got Draymond Green up top here. Definitely not the best matchup against the Timberwolves, but he seems a little bit too cheap today at just 7,500. Green has been pretty solid his last few games. Been giving you about a 30 to 35 point floor. We obviously know he has 50, 55, 60 point upside. His last 4 games, Draymond's put up 32, 48, 43, 31 DK points. We obviously know he's going to play a lot of minutes if it's a competitive game. And this guy does have triple-double upside. Definitely like Draymond Green on this slate, especially being priced under 8K, just 7,500. Does seem like a bit of a cheap price tag for him. But looking in this mid-tier at power forward, another one of my 5 plays is going to come from this position at 6K. ENES KANTER going up against the Nuggets. Love ENES KANTER today, especially if Kristaps Porzingis does not play. I think we see KANTER get some good minutes here. His last few games, he's been seeing consistent minutes, close to 30 minutes just about every game. 27, 26, 29, 26 minutes. Has put up 31, 31, 32, and 33 DraftKings points. So he's been about consistent as you can be. Been getting you at least 5x on this price tag in all of his last 4 games. And we know KANTER has a lot of upside, especially if he's going to get over 30 minutes. There's a chance he has to play big minutes here because they're going to need a guy with size to defend Jokic. So really like KANTER on this slate, especially just 6K. I think he's way too cheap. And that price tag is too cheap if Porzingis does not play today. But maybe if we want to go to this 5K range and look for value at power forward, could go to Taj Gibson if you just need sort of a cash play. He's always a consistent guy, and he's always seems a little bit underpriced. Don't mind Gibson. You got Lyles there, JJ. We obviously know these guys power forward eligible. Scal could be a play at 5K. Could be a value option at power forward, especially if Zach Randolph misses today. Randolph is questionable as I'm recording this Wednesday night. And I know Randolph missed their last game against Orlando, and Scal did get the start and played 23 minutes and put up 31 DraftKings points. Scal is the guy that can get a DraftKings point per minute, so if he gets 25 to 30 minutes, he can get you 25 to 30 DraftKings points. And there's a good chance he plays close to 30 minutes if Randolph is out today. Definitely like Scal as a value option. Hopefully we get that news before lock. We should, since it's the 7:30 game, it's the first game on the slate. Should know if Randolph's going to play or not, so Scout is a value option I'm definitely going to have my eye on today. But that's really what I'm seeing at power forward. At least value plays. You could go to Willie Hernangomez if Porzingis is out. Hernangomez did play 18 minutes their last game, so not a ton of minutes, but he still put up 20 DraftKings points. He's another guy that can usually get you a DraftKings point per minute. And if Porzingis does not play, there's a good chance Hernangomez plays 15 to 20 minutes again and can get you 15 to 20 DraftKings points. Hernangomez definitely not my favorite value play on the slate, but if you just need a straight up punt, you're trying to fit in a stud or two, don't mind going to him at 3,600 if Porzingis is out. But that's what I'm seeing at power forward. Looking for value, so moving on to center. Talking about the expensive options here, do have some good plays up top. Karl-Anthony Towns, Nikola Jokic, Hassan Whiteside, all good centers we can pay up for. If I have to choose one center to pay up for on the slate, definitely like Jokic. He is my final play of my 5 plays. Just love this spot for him, especially if Porzingis misses. Jokic should definitely be able to eat on Enes Kanter. Kanter is not the best defender. I feel like this is the spot where Jokic could definitely get a triple-double and put up one of those monster games. Like we saw against Dallas on the 16th, he put up 67 DraftKings points, 29 points, 18 rebounds, 7 assists. Guy just has so much upside. He's been consistent lately, giving you about a 35, 40-point floor. And priced under 9K, just 8,900. Think Jokic, way too cheap. Love him on the slate, especially if no Porzingis. Think he's a great center to pay up for. Definitely my favorite over Whiteside, over Towns. Love this spot for Jokic. And then looking for other centers, maybe in this mid-tier, I think Willie Cauley-Stein, even though he's kind of in a tough matchup, definitely a good play here, especially if Randolph is out. Willie Cauley-Stein just been a beast with Randolph out. Last game Randolph didn't play, and WCS put up 49 DraftKings points in 33 minutes against the Magic. 21 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 5 blocks, and a steal. Just all-around good game. He's another guy that has a lot of upside, so he's a really good play in that mid-tier if Randolph is out today. You got Scal in that mid-tier. You got Taj Gibson in that mid-tier as well, who you can play as center. Guys I definitely like, especially a guy like Taj Gibson for cash games, just a consistent play. Scal, good value option if Randolph is out. And then sub 5K, there's not a lot of value I see that I'm just absolutely in love with. Definitely think center might be a position we go to this mid-tier or just try and pay up. So I think that's pretty much it for center today, guys. I think that's pretty much it for this video. Hopefully the video helped you. Make sure you give it a like if it did. And if you're new to the channel and you haven't clicked that subscribe button yet, make sure you subscribe as well. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT, or just leave a comment down below. I'll try and get back to your question as soon as I can. But yeah, guys, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, and good luck on this slate tonight, guys. Peace.